Round one.
Tia Toomey for the jump rope ahead of Haley Adams. Laura Horvath right now in third place in the heat. Kristen Bolden in fourth. The difference between spots now, as far as the points are concerned, is just 5 points all the way through. And that is a major change from the 9 to 10 events we've already gone through, because that means if you get a middle place finish in 10, you lose 45 points on the athlete that you're trying to compete against, maybe that you got first. So Haley can do herself a huge favor, because look, she's only 19 points out of a podium position. That's a matter of
35 on the bike.
Now see, that's tough, because those are expensive reps, and if you miss at the bottom on your way down, that's tough, because now Haley jumps right back up. That could be out of panic. Hopefully it was out of confidence, but I don't want that to end up binding her, because we still have a long time to go. Tia Toomey is still in the leader. Laura Horvath is in second. Kristen Bolden is in third. Bolden is in the green shorts and black top on the left of your screen doing her overhead squats. Tia Toomey just continues to crank out reps and is now round number 5. And I like this event for Laura Horvath. He said, you know, background rock climbing for years, so she has the grip strength and the pulling strength. This is a lot different than what you see a lot of people do, but Tia, if you watch, she's just got such upper body strength as she does this. That's a real benefit for her. Tia Toomey just continuing to sprint through this event. Through 75 reps, Laura Horvath now is getting to the dumbbell. Horvath, you mentioned the background in climbing. She had junior and national titles for Hungary for 3 consecutive years, starting at 15 years old. So Tia finishing up, going back. Annie Forsager currently in third place in the heat right now. Annie's just having a great comeback season so far, quietly sitting in the top 10. She took a second place in event number 9. Best finish in the competition for Annie Forsager. Back to the paper. Tia Toomey to the middle of the screen in the red shorts, continuing to lead now through 100 in total repetitions. She is in her 6th round, and if Tia Toomey can get ahead of Danielle Brandon, she will break the record and set the new record for career event wins at 30. Currently tied with Matt Fraser right now, 29. I remember when we were talking about event wins between Sam Briggs and Josh Bridges, that was at 11 or 12. Now once Tia Toomey climbed the pegboard, arms bent, that is a technique you would use where if it was a pure pegboard, keeping the arms at 90, you're more powerful when you have your hands closer to your body. And Tia has just such incredible upper body pulling strength when it comes to the pegboard. Now O'Brien currently sits in 10th place overall. She is in round number 6. She does have an event win under her belt in that on Wednesday here inside the Coliseum. But she beat Tia Toomey in event number 4. Tia Toomey continues to lead with 123 total repetitions. 225 is the score to beat her. The athletes will not move down the floor. The chest pieces will advance. Tia Toomey's chest
560. 35 on the bike.
On the left side of your screen, the judge will come in and move that to round 7. And that's just a sneaky way to keep the intensity very high for these athletes, so where you usually get a break, walking your chest piece down, walking back to the pegboard, you get a rest for your arms. So if you're staying right in front of the rig, it just keeps you coming back. But I am very impressed by the pace that Tia Toomey is still holding on to. Now, we're just past over the halfway mark of this event. Now, what can happen, because you blow it once, you can lose the 30-second advantage that you have on Laura Horvath. Amanda Barnhart right now is in 8th place in the heat. said, this is probably going to be an issue unless she shored up her technique. 7th place overall with 706 points, 23 back of Christine Arnold for 6th. It's about a little more than 4 minutes to go before we hit the 11-minute time gap, and it is Tia Tui who is all by herself in front, much like Danielle Brandon was in heat number 1. Brandon, her score has been updated now, 226 reps that she completed. Tia Tui is no longer gaining time on Laurel Horvath. She's still ahead. She hasn't lost any, but she hasn't been gaining as much ground as she had, taking a little bit more of a break between climbs, where Laurel Horvath's pace has been pretty steady the whole way through. Laurel Horvath right now is 2nd in the heat. She's trying to hold off Kristen Holta. Holta sits in 3rd place overall. Right now, Holta is in 7th.
Now, on the right side of the screen, watch Laurel Horvath climb the pegboard. Much different than anybody else does. That's a climbing technique. A lot of climbers, when they're moving up a rock wall, is they'll have their arms extended with a very loose grip on their hands to save their forearms and shoulders. That is what climbing background coming into play here for this pegboard event.
2.
Well, Horvath and Tui are in round 9. Tui is now advancing to round number 10. Looking for 6th of that win of the competition and to be the career leader for both men and women in event wins.
Round 2.
And what started as a competition on Wednesday now moving to turning into a coronation for Tia Tui for the 5th straight CrossFit Games champion.
And there's only so much you can make up to describe how dominant the performance is for Tia here in 2021, but what's been like to watch her since she won her first in 2017, but Haley Adams falling at the bottom, as we said before, that'd be pretty tough.
1.
For her to make up a missed pegboard. Laurel Horvath was in one, had a great run.
35
It was slowed down a bit at the end, but Tia Tui seen about a 2nd win in the last 3 or 4 minutes of that event, just getting that last round right at the buzzer.
Tia Tui with her 6th win of the competition, the 30th of her career. Danielle Brandon's mark is good enough for 2nd. Another top 2 finish for Brandon. Bailey Rail will take 3rd. Evan McQuaid is in 5th. Donald Ryan was 4th, and Laurel Horvath also tied in with McQuaid for 5th place. In racers with the new career event win record holder, Tia Tui.
Tia, first of all, congratulations on officially setting the record for most event wins ever at the CrossFit Games at 30. You know, the first time we saw the pegboard here at the CrossFit Games in 2015, you only had to do 3 climbs, and many women on the competition floor couldn't even get that many. Given how far you've come, both personally and with the sport, what does that show you about the growth?
Oh, it's awesome, you know. It just goes to show that all of us are evolving as athletes and as people within such a new sport. So it's super exciting to see what the future holds.
This is the first time in a couple of years that you haven't been preparing for the CrossFit Games and on the competition floor with your training partner, Matt Fraser. What's it been like out here on the 4,000 this year?
Yeah, it's a little different. I guess you guys probably know a little bit more than I did. You know, obviously out in the back. Not that he is replaceable at all, but I've got obviously broken will. And so it's very sad, but it's also, I'm very excited for him and his new adventure in life. And I'm just excited to be able to have still amazing people around me.
Still got a lot here to come at the CrossFit Games today and also tomorrow. And what are you looking forward to the most so far?
Just I guess competing, you know. We dedicate so much of our time to this sport and to try and evolve as athletes and just get that much better. And this is where we get to showcase all our hard work.
Congratulations, thank you.
Thank you.
Overall standings after 11, and this is getting ridiculous. 1,045 points. Her lead stands at nearly 200 now overall. Horvath sits in second place. Horvath now 35 up on Kristen Bolton. Christy Marilyn O'Connell is now with fourth. Stanley Adams slides back down one spot. She sits in fifth place overall.
And that was a tough note for Haley Adams. 2 no reps in an event that she should have been better at. And we do have one more coming up this evening, but Horvath solidifying her second place a bit more over the next 2 athletes.
Danielle Brandon is up to 11th place. Catherine Davis on the stage at 12th. Emma Wiggs at 13th. And it's 12th, Mullen and Turi Helmigod. 30 career wins for Tia Toomey as she conquers the headboard and increases her lead to nearly 200 points. Men coming up next. Stay with us at the 2021 Noble CrossFit Games.
Found a bike. Third day of competition for the individuals continues here at the 2021 Noble CrossFit Games. Thank you so much for being here with us, everybody. We really appreciate you tuning in wherever you are. Sean Woodman with Chase Ingram, and it's Mike Arsenault now down on the competition floor. Overall standings after 10 events, it's Justin Maderos, who has an 87-point lead over Pat Beller, who got 35th after event 1, now up to second. Brett Bukowski and Alex Padilla finished third and fourth, and Saxon Paget, who is in fourth place. Jeff Acker, 20th, was the last man inside the comeback. Cole Taylor in 19th place, came up with a huge clutch performance. 3.
In event 10 to get himself inside the top 20. For more on the overall standings, down to Mike Arsenault.
Thank you, Sean Taylor, the
2.
international favorite of the leaderboard, 8 of the top 10 men outside of the United States. So we can change the event description. We're not lifting 70 and 50 ton dumbbells. That would be 32 and 23 kilogram dumbbells. And if you remember, I did mention that one of the low members of the CrossFit team is Canadian. That's spots 2, 3, and 4. Taking out like Canadian athletes. I was going to say a few bars about Canada. If you're still probably coming on mic, but I will say Canadian athletes will try to beat you on the competition floor.
Round 3.
Running, box jumps, double unders are probably the least impactful with that nice light little bounce in the walls of your feet. So I think this is another event that Scott can use to buy himself some more points and kind of buffer against it when they get hurt later in the week. Go down to my right here. Just going on what Chase just said. When I spoke to Scott earlier in the week, and he said the three movements that he went through was jumping, which he just covered, Chase, anything side to side or a quick acceleration. So as long as he can avoid those 3, he's set up for a pretty good weekend. But
35 and a bike.
So for this is if you think about a jumping movement, it's not really what a double under is, even though it's in the name, like jump rope. But I usually tell my athletes who have an issue with double unders or jump rope itself, it's more of a bounce. It's a spring up the calf muscles. You're not really utilizing the full explosiveness of the leg, which does involve extension of the knee, which is usually what hurts an athlete with a knee injury. So the light bounce on the calf muscles should take away some of the impact that it'll usually sustain on knee, say like you would for a box score.
Cole Sager is in round 4. He is your leader coming off his best finish of the competition, that 40th place result in events number 10. That is his 20th place overall.
Sager's big benefit here is that he has such good positioning on the overhead squats. His upper, obviously if you just look at him, his upper body pulling strength is on par with the best athletes in the sport. And the consistency that he has on the double unders is what's going to save him some time to get more reps. And that's the idea on the double unders. Don't try to go fast. You're not going to separate yourself from the rest of the athletes in 15 double unders, but you can screw it up by missing. So what you usually see in high volume double unders is trying to use that to your advantage by going faster. But really the speed is by going unbroken, not necessarily having a fast rope where you could potentially put yourself in a position to miss.
Cole Sager all by himself in first place. Jeff Adler and Scott Panchik are in second and third. The athletes will not advance down the floor. Their chest pieces will. Cole Sager's is on the bottom. His judge will move that chest piece forward once he completes this round of 15 double unders. Jeff Adler, 19th place. He was in the top 5 last year.
He was, but there was only 5 last year, right? So he got last, but that's he still had to get into the top 5. But what I love about Adler this morning was his efforts on the long endurance run, which he should have been and has not been good at in the past. So it shows that Adler has worked on a weakness and has gotten better at it. I know it's not looking like it on the leaderboard at the moment, but I'm very impressed with Adler's performance this morning in that 5K run event.
Noah Olson comes into this event in 13th place overall. His best finish this competition was a 6th back on Wednesday night in event 4. He had his best career finish in the games in 2019 when he finished on the podium.
And a lot of times with Noah is that he rides the wave of the competition. You see that with a few other athletes. Chandler Smith tends to do that. Sarah Sigmund's daughter did that a lot. And Noah's power is success. So if he has a little bit of success early, that really does fuel his competitive spirit and mind going in. The other part is being in front of a crowd. And I think with a little bit of a slow start, he's been stuck in the second or third heat over the last 2.5 days, and he's really not able to capitalize on what fuels him is that in the front, in the last heat, and in front of the crowd.
Paul still in 4th place in this heat. Cole Sager, talking about comebacks, his best finish out of the game was 5th place in 2016. At one point that year, he was dead last.
Hey, he was Patrick Vellner before there was a Patrick Vellner, basically going from last to the top 5, top 6 performance.
37 and a bike.
Now, Vellner happens to do what podium finishes, but listen, you can never count out Cole Sager. And the fact that we're in event 11, we are only 2/3 of the way through the competition. We have 5 events, including this one, where a lot more things can happen. And as you said earlier, Sean, is that the scoring system, now everything's separated by 5 points from 1st to 20th, could be a benefit if Cole can take big top 5 finishes over the next few events.
Cole Sager is in his 9th round right now.
Now what you have to do walking up to this dumbbell is you have to declare the arm you're going to do overhead squats with. You have to do all 7 overhead squats on that side. So if you pick the right side and it's just not happening, you can't switch to the other side. So you watch the athletes walking up to their judge on the dumbbells, and they'll raise whatever hand that they're going to use for the next set of overhead squats.
Sager threw 184 reps on the count as he moves into round number 10.
He is a full round ahead of the two men behind him, Scott Manning and Jeff Adler.
Samuel getting to the top of that pegboard, making his way down.
His climbs are so fast. 15 seconds for a climb.
Scott Manning is sitting in second place right now in this heat. And he is now entering his 10th round.
And he's only about 30 seconds behind Pat Nutter. You can see Handshake has a towel, a wet towel, right in front of his mat. And what that does
is there's a lot of jump on the floor. We saw what was happening on the night one for the teams. But what it does is, we said plexiglass is a lot slicker than it is at your wall at home or your gym brick wall. But it's real nice if you dampen the bottom of your shoes and basically stick to that wall.
3.
This will be his final year competing at the CrossFit Games.
2.
And 8 straight individual appearances from 2012 to 2019. 4 3 times. Never been on the podium in his career.
1.
Just not putting a lot more pressure on his right foot. It's the left knee that's bothering him. And his left foot is not as flexed as his right one, which means he's spending a lot more time on his right side than his left.
Last round.
First of all, Cole Sager has the appropriate attire for a pegboard event, going sleeveless in an upper body pulling movement. But Cole Sager never backed off the pace. I really like the back and forth between Scott Patrick on the right and Adler on the left. But the positioning and the ease
3.
that was the overhead squats for Cole Sager. Never missing on the double under. So what does that do? It gives him more time to do things like this. He had to come back in to get into the top 20. That's the Sager 2 tire down at his end.
1.
276 reps officially for Cole Sager, Scott Manning at 253 a second, and Jeff Adler finishes third.
35 and bike.
Voice done. Rounding out the top 5 with 1 heat to go. And Sager will wait and see if that time will survive an assault from some very talented athletes in the second heat. The overall leaders will be on the competition floor. But Cole Sager came in with 20th place overall, as we were talking about when we came on the air here. The points system is a little different. You can make up big chunks very quickly. Once again, the standings after 10 events, it's Justin Medeiros, who is your overall leader by 87 over Pat Velder. Brent Fikowski sits in third, and it's Alex Villa in fourth. Cole Sager, 19th place, according to these standings, at 5:21. Jeff Adler, 20th at 5:22. Travis Bear at 11th, trying to get himself inside the top 10. The AMRAP is back.
AMRAP is back, but in a smaller way than we've seen before. It's just 11 minutes. And we said before, this is a headboard dominant event. Strength, stamina, and skill for that gymnastics movement. Then you add the weightlifting component and a heavy double under. All these athletes are used to this, but again, it's about staying consistent, staying unbroken, to allow yourself more time to get those rounds in. But it's all going to come down to the proficiency on the pegboard.
Justin Medeiros will be in lane 5. He is your overall leader, and it's going to be 3 Canadians trying to track him down, led by Patrick Velder, who at one point sat in 35th place overall and is now in second. Alex Vino comes in 4th place.
Exactly, secretly coming in from the 4th place, the 3rd Canadian, outside Brent Fikowski and Patrick Nutter, sitting at 4th overall, has just been quietly making a name for himself over the last 10 events. Brent Fikowski, tough blow to his positioning after the last event, which should have been a strength for him. We'll have to see how that injury is going to affect Fikowski on this one.
Justin Medeiros, your overall leader.
Justin Medeiros is going to be quick, a little too quick, 2 bobbles on the pegboard. And what you have to do is you got to understand is that you can't just pull the peg straight out. You have to do a slight lift and then remove the peg.
That is Alex Vino, who currently sits in fourth place. And back in 2016, when Matt Fraser basically went wire to wire, only one other man sat atop the overall standings. It was Alex Vino.
That's the very beginning of the competition as we're doing that French trail move in a deadlift, but he did wear that jersey for quite a while. Patrick Vellner, he's been talked about as the heir apparent to Matt Fraser over the last few years, but in 19 and 20, he just hasn't had an opportunity to showcase that. In fact, the last time he had pegboards and Pat Vellner, he got a ninth place finish with a full field of athletes. So Vellner is one of the better pegboard climbers in this field.
Vellner has been on the podium 3 times in his career. He was dealing with a groin injury in 2020 during stage 1 of that competition, so he did not make the final 5, but he is trying to reel in Justin Medeiros here.
Are you talking to bike?
7 points in the overall standing. Medeiros with 824 points. Vellner with 737.
Witkowski has actually moved up ahead of Vellner. What I'm watching is Justin Medeiros has already tripped up a few times on double unders. BKG, one of those athletes that hasn't really been flashy, but sitting at 6th overall. Jorgen Koro Goodmanson is actually the athlete who spoiled Rick Witkowski's possible podium finish on his rookie year on the pegboard event.
Goodmanson, Witkowski, and Lazar Jukic, who is coming off an event win. Jukic is on the right side of your screen. They are your leaders right now. Goodmanson will move into round 5. Justin Medeiros in this heat right now is in 9th. He is towards the back.
BKG on the ride looks very good. He's a very good gymnast. It was his background at one time prior to starting CrossFit. Now, we were talking earlier, Sean, is that we can't remember the last time we've seen Medeiros do pegboards in a competition. It is only his 2nd year, but we've had off-site events, regional events, semifinals. But with his wrestling background, most wrestlers would think we're proficient at it, but that's more of an old school style. Maybe our generation, our dad's generation was all about pegboards and wrestlers, but he was a little out of control at the start of this event. We saw him slip a few times trying to get his name off the board, so I think he just needs to calm his nerves down and settle into the pace of this interactive is.
Jorgen Goodmanson and Jorgen Koski are your leaders along with Lazar Jukic, Rick Witkowski, and Pat Vellner. Justin Medeiros right now is in 9th place in this heat.
We also got tagged to no reps in those overhead squats, and it's not going to make it harder. Again, you're just losing precious time, and we missed
3-2 left.
On the heavy rope. But what you got to look at is look at the straps on his wrist. When you wear your straps like that, see it flopping around, you have a potential